What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hardwired Dog Training. This is episode 1 of Dog Talk, and my name is Nathan Beatty. I'm coming to you from the heart of Oklahoma. Today, I want to talk to you about a dog trainer's purpose. Now, as you can imagine, being a trainer myself, this is personally important to me, but it's not important to me just because I'm a dog trainer. It's important to me because there's so many people out there who just don't understand what their purpose is in their work. And to me, that's kind of sad. I'm not necessarily just talking about what you do or even why you do it. Those are important things. You need to have a why, or else you're probably not going to stay for very long, are you? But what I'm talking about is the function of the job itself. What is the function of a dog trainer? Why does the position dog trainer exist in the first place? That's what I'm talking about. What is the purpose of the position? This is a question that I would say that many dog trainers themselves don't know or haven't thought that much about. Because as much fun as it is training dogs, as a dog trainer, you do a lot more than just that. And as far as the training goes, are you trying to teach a dog to do some basic behaviors like sit or lay down or stay or leave it? Or is there more to it? Consider this question. Why does a dog need to be able to sit? Why does a dog need to be able to lay down or to walk loose on leash or to leave it or to stay? Why does a dog need to do those things? Just answering that question, I can tell you there's obviously more to it than just doing those things, or you wouldn't be able to answer that question very, very easily without saying no. On top of that, I wouldn't have recorded this video if that's all there was to it. The fact is, though, getting back to the question, dogs are a part of many people's lives, a huge part. They are a part of our families in ways that most other animals aren't. They're created by God to help us in any way that they can, and we see that through service dogs and drug detection dogs and sled pulling dogs, and basically every single dog that there is will help us, whether it be through a job like search and rescue or being on the couch and giving you comfort, because that is their purpose. And when they aren't listening, like they bolt out the door or they tear up a couch, or, they're pulling on the leash trying to get to a squirrel, or they get reactive towards other dogs, whatever the case may be, they aren't fulfilling their purpose in those moments. And if it happens often enough, one of three things happens. And I think based on my location and my research in the area, it happens in this order. Number one, they get taken to a shelter. And this seems like a noble goal because, you don't know how to take care of the dog, which isn't, I'm not going to say that that's a bad thing necessarily. You're not the right fit for the dog, or whatever happens, you take the dog to the shelter. The shelter, their job is to find a responsible home for the dog, and they try. But a lot of times shelters don't have trainers and they don't have people who can work with the dog all day long because they got, 300, 400 dogs in a shelter. They can't just take 15 minutes on each of them. So the shelter just gives them to the next person, but obviously the behavior hasn't been dealt with. So the dog ends up acting out in the same way and gets returned back to the shelter. And on the process goes. It just keeps getting returned back and forth it goes. And then eventually the shelter is going to say, we've dealt with this dog too many times, and so we need to put it down so that we have the room to deal with another dog instead. And so hundreds of dogs in Oklahoma City get put down in just one shelter. And there's more than one shelter in Oklahoma City. But at just one shelter, hundreds of dogs get put down every year. And it's sad. But let's say the shelter's full, or you can't get rid of the dog. You don't know how. Shelter won't take them. You can't get friends to rehome them. Nobody's answered your request for rehoming. You've tried the rescues, all that stuff. Let's say you've gone through all that responsibly. What do? Well, in a lot of cases, what happens after that point is they get dumped in the middle of the field somewhere. And A lot of times what happens after they get dumped is we'll find the dog dead on the side of the road, or it'll be eaten by wild animals. Nature's cruel. And a dog that's meant to be in a residential home doesn't usually make it out in the wild for very long. Now they can, but it doesn't happen a lot of the time. Or number three, the third thing that happens, and the one that I would suggest that you do, is take the dog to a trainer. Now, yes, I'm not going to lie, trainers are expensive, but the dog doesn't have to die. It doesn't have to go to a shelter. It doesn't have to live uncomfortably. It can still fulfill its purpose with you if you can find the right trainer. All you do, like getting put down at a shelter or getting ran over after being dumped, those are sad happenings and they shouldn't happen. It doesn't have to happen. All you need to do is just find your dog a trainer, and that will eliminate the majority of the problem. Because with proper vet care, proper nutrition, proper exercise, and proper training, 99% of the dogs who get put down or killed in any way every single year could be saved. And that brings me to the purpose of the dog trainer, the answer to our question. While dog training isn't the only thing a dog needs, it is a very huge part of what the dog needs. You need to train the dog yourself, or you need to find a trainer. Dogs need guidance on how to fulfill their purpose in our lives. The job dog trainer exists for that purpose. And while the trainer is teaching the dog how to sit or stay or lay down or whatever else, what the trainer is really doing is helping the owner and the dog communicate better. And thus they're both happier, especially the dog, because now it knows how to achieve its purpose. And the foundation for all of that can be laid with the following questions. What kind of dog is it? What drives the dog? What am I training it for? And what does the owner need to take away from the training? The answer to those questions will tell you what the problem is, how major the problem is, and how to solve it. Whether or not you need to use corrections. I mean, there's no one size fits all in dog training, and so you must ask those questions in order to figure out what you need to do. Not every dog is the same, and so our approach to training must be open and it must be flexible. And the reason why is because it seems obvious, but a lot of people object to this. But I'm not going to train an aggressive Rottweiler the same way I train a Golden Retriever who pulls on a leash. I'm not going to train a Border Collie puppy that is going into agility the same way I train a Belgian Malinois going into Mondio ring. Those, again, are obvious things. But if you want a more similar thing, I'm not going to train a dog who's toy-driven the same way I train a dog who's treat-driven. Obviously, you're using a different reward for both. That makes training a little bit different. And some dogs don't respond to either. Some dogs are bred to be on the couch with you. Some are super active and need tons of exercise. Training must take these things into account. So, asking these questions will help you fulfill the dog's purpose. And helping the dog fulfill its own purpose is the reason dog trainers exist. That is the purpose of a dog trainer. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more right here on Hardwired.